Okay, The Age of Disclosure, the documentary that's supposed to kind of change it all. The Age of Disclosure. It debuted at South by Southwest. We haven't really heard anything about it. It was the beginning of the year. You're like, well, where is it? Who's picking it up? Well, we have an answer. Finally. So thanks for joining me here today on the show. It's Down to Earth with me, Kristian Harloff. Appreciate you being here. And that's it. Let's get into the announcement. All right, here it is. The Truth is coming on November 21st. It is going to be worldwide on Prime Video and in select U.S. theaters. Getting a theatrical release as well. An explosive documentary that reveals an 80-year global cover-up of non-human intelligent life with testimonies from 34 U.S. government insiders. So there is the announcement. Finally, you're getting a release date of the end of November, so people will be able to see this. Prime Video, which is big. Now, the question is, you got to pay for it? Even if it's Prime Video, it means if you have Prime, you get it. I just want to make sure you don't have to pay for it if you don't have it, because that's always an issue. If you're just going to be able to find that on Amazon Prime and you got to pay for it to come out, that's going to be a major issue. But I think that it's just if you have Prime Video, then you can access it. At least I hope so. For those who didn't know about this documentary or forgot about it, check out the trailer.
We've had repeated instances of something operating in the airspace over restricted nuclear facilities, and it's not ours.
These are otherworldly things that are performing maneuvers that haven't been seen.
There's a whole fleet of them.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
This is so secret. There have been very few people in our entire government that have been allowed or provided access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis, but that begins to ramp out of control.
It's not acceptable to have secret parts of government that no one ever sees. People have been hurt protecting and hiding this information.
Some people claim it would cost them their lives if they spoke out about these things.
You had information being locked away that could change the trajectory for a species.
This is the biggest discovery in human history.
This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day. PrizePicks, being right, can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. It's football season, man, right around the corner. And so here's an example of what you can do. So if you want to take some of your favorite players and you say, hey, Barkley, is it going to be more or less than one rushing touchdown? Joe Burrow, more or less than 2.5 passing touchdown. How about Josh Allen? You're going to get more or less 270 passing yards. What do you think? Use your skills. You know that you're doing it, and you know you're talking about it with your buddies. Well, now let's get some cash on this thing. So PrizePicks, it's simple to play. You pick more or less 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in. PrizePicks puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, they're safe, secure. PrizePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Use PrizePicks. It's the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. I've been using them for quite a bit, and I am beyond satisfied. You got to download that app today and use DTE to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code DTE to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. All right, like I said, great news. Again, Prime Video seems like it's just going to be accessible if you have Prime Video, which is great. As long as you don't have to rent it, that just never works out for anybody as far as getting the overall word out there. Now, this is, I'd love to get the story. This is why, and I'm sure we will get it. I don't know about this particular channel, but I'm saying in general, I have made a request for interviews. Would love to talk to Dan Farrer about this, because my number one question would be, what was the holdup for when they shot this movie a while ago, right? And then It got into South by in the beginning of the year, and everybody was raving about it. I mean, Rogan has been talking about it. Other people have been talking about this and how this could, and even in the beginning, they said this, one of the quotes was how this could change the world, right? And how people would look at this subject matter and the things you're going to be hearing. So what took so long to get it out there? What was it? Was it the fact that they couldn't find a distributor? Was it a battle back and forth? Was it a bidding war type thing? Were there people asking them to hold it back? What was it? Here is my concern with it. And from covering this for the last 3 some odd years or whatever it was now, well, 3.5, no, 2.5. So my question is, the news cycle on this moves very fast. Things that are relevant today will not be relevant tomorrow. So a lot of these interviews that they have, so much has happened since. Like, I think 2 hearings have happened since they shot this. The 2024 farce, and then the one that they did this year, which had some good people on it for sure. There are other things that happened, even with Eric Davis and the briefing that they had and all this. There have been other things. Now, Jay Stratton is in this. Jay Stratton is one of the people that I've continuously said, and other people have said, they need this guy to testify at one of these hearings, and this one is one of the guys. Now, it seems like you're going to get a lot of information from people that won't testify, but will talk on video, which again is a good thing and might be the way to go about this overall. The question again would be, how do you get this in front of enough people outside of our circle, right? Like, if you're watching this video, if you're subscribed to this channel, if you're in the UFO community, you know about this, and this is news to you. This is going to be something that you're going to go, oh, I wonder what so-and-so is saying about this, because now this is going to come out. I'll be watching. I'm going to look. The way you got to get this out there more is you got to find a way to get it to the casuals. And the way that I found this topic, or got really interested in this topic, was through a documentary series that was on National Geographic years ago, right before like the Grush hearings and all that. And I was captivated by it. The good news again is that the difference between other documentaries, and not to say anything against, I highly respect and have had him on the show. I love James Fox's work. James Fox's latest documentary was hyped up through our community. We talked about it, and then it went away, unfortunately, right? And that was a good one for casual viewers to get involved in. They just didn't find it. So the good news that this movie has going for it is because Dan Farah, who is a producer in the Hollywood Circle, is connected with Steven Spielberg, obviously, his work with Ready Player One. The trades are covering this thing. The Hollywood Reporters, the Varieties, they're covering this. So when this comes out, and hopefully from the push again that I saw this morning, that I received an email that it was being released, and I made a request for interviews, and depending on how the interviews are being spread out there, and who they're speaking with, you could get the word out, and more people could actually find it. And who will be doing the interviews? Will it just be Dan Farah, or will it be people who are involved in this documentary? Because that happened in the past when I had an opportunity to interview Tim Gallaudet, as he was doing Darcy Weir's film, and Darcy and the publicist reached out and said, hey, would you like to speak to Tim as well? And I said, of course, that would be great. And so we had an opportunity to speak to both Darcy and Tim at that time. So is it going to be a similar situation? Will there be people who are in this that will be promoting the documentary? Now, when we talked to Ryan Graves on this show, he was promoting a different documentary at the time, but I had asked him about Age of Disclosure. He said he was involved in that, and he did shoot that a while ago. And I mean, that interview was what? It had to be 7-8 months ago, or something like that, whenever that was on this channel. But there is a continued interest for this one. There's more hype on this documentary, and I think it is, again, because of people who are involved. It's always how it goes. It's who's involved in it. Now, if there are more interviews and there are more things, and you've already seen the hype that Rogan has already given this documentary, it would make sense for Dan Farrow to go on that. It would make sense for people to get more involved in promoting it. Now, the other question I have is, what information is going to come out in this that the UFO community does not already know, right? In the same way that I just mentioned James Fox's documentary. Now, that movie, there's the other one, The Moment of Contact, is a very different documentary from his last one. His last documentary, I thought, was very much for people who were discovering the topic and learning things that we had kind of heard about and other things, and maybe there's a few other things he introduced, but for the most part, it's for newer people who are finding the topic. Is that what this is as well? Is it going to cover a bunch of topics and other things that we already know? Or are we going to hear, again, this is about a year and a half ago when they shot this. So are we going to be hearing from senators and other people inside the government who are saying things that we've already heard? If that is the case, once again, the way that this is going to catch on is you have to have enough promotion that you get casual people and newer people watching it. That's how you got to get it. Unless you're going to have new information and stuff that but there's already debuted at South by, so there's no way that this could happen. The other way you do it is to promote stuff inside of it, to debut something inside of it that was no one's seen, no footage, and you just all hell will break loose, as we've heard was going to happen in the beginning of the year. Now, maybe, possibly, that's why it hasn't been released. Maybe they added new stuff to it. Also possible. The version that they debuted at South by, maybe that's not the version that they're going to release on Amazon. Maybe there's new stuff. Maybe they added new stuff. I think that would be beneficial if they did. But the only thing with that is, well, whoever bought it, Amazon, bought the version of it that was pitched, sold. So I think this is very exciting. I will definitely be covering this. Now, whether or not I do a watch along on the channel for it, I don't know. I'll probably just definitely do a review on it at least. And I would love to get somebody who's involved in the film on the show so we can talk about this, promote it, and see if it is indeed something that will change the world, as they say. Because let's say that it does have that impact. Let's say that it does indeed get those people who were not paying attention to this and saying, hey, did you see that thing that they just debuted on Amazon? Did you watch that? And it catches fire. And it becomes a very popular documentary that people are covering everywhere. You could indeed change the conversation. Now, it's not an easy trick, but it's certainly the possibility when media is involved. So what do you guys make of it? What do you think is going to happen with this documentary? Is there going to be anything in there that makes us inside of this community say, wow, we never even heard that before. That's new. That's brand new. Oh, they're doing this. They're doing that. Do some of these people who did the interviews even remember that they did it? And they've been doing so much since. I mean, even looking at Rubio, who's on there, has been doing so much since, but I forgot I gave that. Is he even involved in this anymore? I don't even hear him talk about it anymore. The other thing, as I mentioned, is the Steven Spielberg aspect of this. Now, this could be calculated. Dan Farrow, Steven Spielberg know each other really well. Steven Spielberg, big advocate in UFOs, UFO disclosure, those types of things. Doing a film that is coming out, are these two things related at all? Meaning how much of real life into the disclosure side of it and the officials who knew about it and the cover-up, how much of that is going to be involved in this movie that Spielberg is doing? If anything. So there's a lot that we're going to be paying attention to. As I said, that this starts the Hollywood trend of movies regarding this topic. You have this movie, which is a documentary, and I know there have been other documentaries that have come out, but this is different as far as who is involved, with Dan Farrow being involved. This starts it, and his involvement with Spielberg. So that movie comes out in November. Then you have Spielberg's movie, which I think is the second one up. Spielberg also involved, or at least very familiar and friendly with Joseph Kosinski, who is doing the movie with David Grush, who is Grush's consulting. Are they all in cahoots? Apple is doing that movie. And then there's the separate movie that still is in the very early development of the Bob Lazar, George Knapp relationship, directed by Colin Trevorrow. So the trend is starting to be there, and more of this will happen if this and other movies are successful, in which how it works. So I'm very curious to what you guys think. What kind of impact will this have whatsoever? Is this exciting? Put your thoughts in there. Let me know. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. If you want to help and support the show, as I mentioned before, PrizePicks, please do it. And we'll be back here very soon. Thanks, guys.